So everybody welcome Jake Biskar. He's the head of sales development at Rainforest QA. Today Jake's going to talk to us a little bit about the sort of balance between humanizing your outreach versus hitting your activity goals and sort of how to make things predictable.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone is having the same issue that we are, where we're just trying to figure out the fine line between activity and customization. So yeah, looking forward to talking with you guys. Thanks for having me on, by the way. I'm a massive fan of just like the predictable revenue theory in general, and then that series of literature as well. So thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the show. You thought that relying on email is irresponsible. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. So when we first started, or when I started, and I was a pretty junior manager, I was at a company called TalkDesk before this. We were heavy on activity KPIs. So the first thing I did when I got to Rainforest, as a manager, I think I was about employee number 20, got here pre-Series A. I decided like activity is the only way that you can be successful as a team. And so I was at TalkDesk around the same amount of people, around employee number 20 or 30. So early on at companies, yeah, activity is a really good metric for judging if somebody is going to be successful or not. So we were using email numbers to judge that. And we did the same thing at Rainforest, and all of a sudden, the return on email activity just wasn't the same as it was 6 months ago or 12 months ago. So I say you're responsible in the sense that you really should be doing a lot of other stuff alongside of emails. I mean, emails are our foundation. Like, there's no way around that. That's the foundation. We're reaching out to developers, CTOs. Emails are the way for us. But if you're not doing other things to humanize yourself, which is probably a word I'll ever say on this podcast multiple times, but if you're not figuring out a way to humanize yourself, then the way that you're reaching out is irresponsible. You're basically relying on a number to get you to your number, which is what the company is ultimately staking its monthly quota on. So.
So where do you start? Which is I think one of the tools you had mentioned was talking about something about coffee. You're sending these guys coffee?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're using a bunch of different tools. We're using a tool called Sendoso that's way later on in our funnel. I use the word funnel because everyone else uses the word funnel, but it's later on in our process where we've reached out and maybe they've expressed interest previously. Maybe they're a perfect prospect, and so we really want to catch their attention early. And so we're using Sendoso, which is, well, they have a Chrome extension. They also just actually integrated with Outreach, is what we're using as our email platform. But you can just click that button and it pops up, and you can send them a Starbucks gift card for $5. I'd say the success rate on that is at about 50%. You get your money returned back to you if they don't redeem the gift card. And people seem to really like that. It's sort of like an extra touch. We're using it on rebuttals now. It's just another tool in the toolbox of the SDR. Because I mean, they're constantly up against it, right? Like, people are kind of mad that they're reaching out, or everyone is very finicky if it seems that you didn't do enough research on their company. It's just a great way to sort of break the ice and say, hey, listen, like we're with you on this. Here's a coffee. I have no idea, or I have no doubt that we can actually add value for you guys. Is there any chance that we can get some time? And it works pretty well. So
you said something interesting there, that you're using it on rebuttals. So if somebody's saying, send me some information, or no thanks, or I'm, common objection, maybe I don't need this, or something like that, you're like, hey, have a coffee? Or how does it
yeah,
walk you
sure.
through that process?
If anybody's going to give us any context on what they're doing for their development process, for us, that's invaluable, because that's research that we can't garner anywhere else besides the source. So they give us that info, and we can send them a coffee as sort of like a thank you. And it's also a way for us to get in one more line. So if they're saying hey, we actually outsource our QA, or we're not looking for an outsourced provider, we have 3 devs that are doing it internally, then that's a way for us to say thank you so much for the context. Really appreciate it. That's what we hear a lot from our current customers. The reason that they went with Rainforest was this, this, and this. If that ever changes down the line, please let us know. And then we send them a coffee, and we usually ask for a follow-up timeline, 2 or 3 months. With us, timing is crucial to get people involved in the sales cycle. And so, as I'm sure for a lot of people. So, when you follow up in that thread, and that thread has you sending them a gesture of kindness or whatever you want to call it, then it usually nets you a better response that second time. But yeah, so that's the number one thing that I'm into. The first thing that I have people do when they join the team is, I'm not sure if you read the book. It's called Ego is the Enemy.
Mm-hmm. Right. Ryan Halliday.
Yeah. Really, really good. I was just seeing a ton of AEs come in and SDRs that get a taste of success, and they actually do really, really well, and then either fizzle out or like they get let go. And it's never because of performance. I've seen people perform terribly and they still stay on if they're a team player, especially here, because they'll eventually come around. I think likability is very important, but it seems like ego is the number one thing that's killing careers right now. So for me, I just want people to come in, kind of like read that book a little bit. It's kind of cheesy. I hate people that prescribe books and stuff like that, but for us, it's been super successful. So.
When we were having when we talked last, you mentioned a tool that you were matching up reference customers and industry tags.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not the most beautiful thing to show off, but do you want to just walk me through what you guys are doing here? Because I imagine you could. I mean, I think you probably have a full script for it, but I imagine this could be something that can be rebuilt in a Google Sheet or something like that.
For sure, and that's exactly what we did. Is we had. I just had one of my developers come over and kind of shadow my workflow for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them, like, what would you automate here? And it's really cool because they offer up a lot of their time as well. This company is amazing in terms of collaboration, all the way up from Fred, the CEO, to all the way to the SDR team. So it was great. So he came over, helped us out, and I was going through and manually taking all the companies that we have, maybe in the fintech space, putting them into a custom field on a Google Sheet,
mm-hmm.
and then having the word fintech go into a custom field. And then the copy would read, because you're in the fintech space, we work with this, and this company. I thought you might find us interesting. Something along those lines, a little more eloquent than that. But ultimately, he just created an app on Heroku that if it has whatever industry it's in, and we do the industry when we're prospecting, whatever industry it's in, I just run that, and then it auto fills all the customers that we have in that industry, or the top two. So I just have to update a Google Doc with any of the whatever we think the top two customers are in any industry, and then it auto fills that. So that's pretty cool. We did that with territories as well. So if you do like a list buy and you get some locations and you need to territorize them for your SDRs, we did that through a Heroku app. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can collaborate with your developers, and they'll make your life a lot easier. But for us, it's been cool. I haven't seen a huge return on that. It's just always nice to come off a little more professional, I think, in your outbound. But.
Mm-hmm. And so you're automatically matching up like your top two customers or top two competitors in the space as basically like a mail merge tag.
Exactly.
Essentially, you're throwing that into the template.
Yeah. So
it's just an awesome little trick that I think, some people thought like, oh, I know I've thought about like, hey, how could I easily do this? And I know I've sat there and gone through that spreadsheet so many times.
I know. I'm like, I feel like a data scientist at some point, like in the loosest sense of the term, but where you're just sort of going through and like manipulating spreadsheets all day and then uploading it. I don't know. So yeah, there's always little hacks somewhere along the line.
Cool. The last little hack that I remember you telling me that when people don't respond to your email, you send the goons or the bots after them and just retarget them everywhere.
Sure. Yeah. So we've been doing a couple things. We've noticed, so as replies go down, because we're a little more heavy on email, outreach is cool. Outreach is like our CRM, our CRM for emailing, and it has basically the history of every email that we've ever sent as a company. So we can see if somebody hasn't opened any emails. So we go through and we have a cool add-on that's a deduper that anyone can get for free inside of Google Docs. And we take all of our replies, all of our opens, and everyone that we have in sequence, and then we dedupe against them by email. And then we usually get an output of about 400 people that have never opened an email from Rainforest QA. So we know from those, and I'd say 400 out of 1,000, 60% open rate. And we know that of those people, email is probably not the best way to target them. So we're going to try everything else. Usually LinkedIn InMail is the number one way that we're doing it, because that's basically just like another email touch. But, we're going to try to find them on Twitter. We're going to try to reach out to them over the phone. We'll throw in a bunch of different touches, because the more and more that you get into like some of this outbound process, you realize like a lot of these leads have been touched a lot of times. So for my team, that's like, wow, this is a fresh lead, basically. I'm going to give it a little more time and spend some more time on it.
Gotcha. So when you said retargeting, you're not just like following them around on websites and things like that. You're trying something different, sort of outside of your normal email and call tool.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of those people now, so another awesome use for Sendoso is the actual direct mail stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think direct mail is really, really valuable, especially to people that have never been touched before. So Sendoso actually has a fulfillment center, and we send a lot of swag there. Then we tell them what sort of box we want curated. So maybe we want someone to receive a t-shirt, a handwritten letter, and then like some stickers. They'll get that box all together. They'll send it out to the address that we decide. We do that all through Salesforce. And then it automatically tags that person as receiving a Sendoso box. So then I can run reports on all of those. Who's received that, what validity does it have for them being an actual prospect for us or turning into a customer? And then from there, it's just like one more extra touch. And as we try to go up to enterprise, we're finding that that's like more and more important, and actually almost a necessity at this point. So
awesome. Bringing us back to relying solely on email.
Yeah.
Is it responsible? Even though you guys are pretty heavily email based, you're doing all these other things to sort of augment and boost and sort of not cheating here and there, but, trying to get a leg up, and 10 different places, I'm sure has a huge impact.
Sure. It's hard. And everyone on our team is manually prospecting every person that they're reaching out to. Mm-hmm. We're not out there buying lists or anything. We know that these are good people to reach out to. This is the SDR's pipeline. And so for us to just send emails after spending so much time prospecting, that's when it sort of gets irresponsible. And that's when you have to sort of be a little more dynamic and fluid in the way that you reach out. And one of the issues that comes with that though is the SDR. Some common complaints that I hear from my team is don't know where to spend our time. It's very hard to prioritize that. And it just comes with practice and iteration. Mm-hmm. But as we grow, we'll have people specializing in certain aspects. And that's the overarching goal. I'd love to have a team of SDRs and then junior SDRs who are just out there sort of SDRing for the SDR who's going to be doing the more specialized outreach. But anyways.